John here, and today we're going to talk about Review Over the Top. Continuing the Stallone marathon, and yeah, this is a very good film to me that unfortunately I don't have on Blu-ray. I've seen the film many times, and I would love to pick up the film. But the story here, real quick, with this film, so after years of absence, you have our main character, Lincoln Hawk, in the film, played by Stallone. He's a trucker, and he picks up his son from military school by the request of the mother who's dying. Lincoln Hawk wants to, make up for lost time and, reconnect with his son. So they hit the road, and, soon Hawk realizes that, it won't be easy, reconnecting with Michael. He wants to go back, but, Michael discovers that his father's skill for arm wrestling, as a way to make extra cash, he's fascinated by, his father arm wrestling. And, around the corner in Las Vegas, there's this competition, this arm wrestling competition for the grand prize. And Lincoln Hawk is set to compete for the grand prize. So he has a couple of days to, win his son's trust, and meanwhile, evade the ruthless grandfather who wants Michael back. And that's the plot to the film here. Now, the film is directed by Menahem Golan, who prior to this directed Enter the Ninja, which I've heard about but haven't seen. He also directed The Delta Force, which is a very good Chuck Norris film. And the cast here, Stallone as Lincoln Hawk, it's a very good performance here. Definitely reminds you of Rocky. The character of Lincoln Hawk, he's a guy that, wants to reconnect with his son, and it's a very sincere performance. To me, Sly does a great job here. Robert Loggia as the grandfather that wants Michael back, he does a good job. Now, Robert Loggia, you've seen in other movies out there, from Scarface, Independence Day. Unfortunately, he's passed away, but again, he does a good job, playing the mean grandfather who, wants Michael back. You have, Michael in the film, who's played by David Mendenhall, and he does a good job too. In the beginning, of course, he's kind of a brat, giving his father a hard time and, wanting to go back to his grandfather, and, you just kind of want to slap the kid. Talking about the character, not the actor, but you want to slap the kid. But as the film goes along, they develop a bond, and it's a good rapport there between father and son, the two actors. But I thought David Mendenhall again does a good job, and I know he was in that one film. What was it, Going Bananas? I've heard about that movie, but I haven't seen it. I know that's with that actor, and like the co-star was like a monkey or a chimp. But yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of that movie. You got Terry Funk in here. Yeah, the wrestler Terry Funk, who was the bodyguard of Robert Loggia's character. It's always nice to see the Funk in there. He was in Roadhouse, I remember, and it was cool to see him. You have Lincoln's wife in the film, who's played by Susan Blakely. She's not in the film too much, but she does fine. And I believe she had worked with Sly before in The Lords of Flatbush. You have the character of Bull Hurley, played by Rick Zumwalt, and he plays a good antagonist. That character comes more into play in the third act of the film, but everybody remembers Bull Hurley, and unfortunately Rick Zumwalt, I think he's passed away. But the whole cast here, everybody does a good job. Stallone, definitely shines here with a very sincere performance, and good supporting cast. The film also has a very pleasing soundtrack. You got songs on here like In This Country by Robin Zander, Meet Me Halfway by Kenny Loggins, Winner Takes It All by Sammy Hagar, and much more. And I just love the soundtrack for this movie. And, you know, when I went to go see, it was a double feature, like a retro double feature of The Running Man and Demolition Man. And this is back in like 2019. Before The Running Man started, they had shown a trailer for Over the Top. And as soon as the movie started, like the trailer for Over the Top, and you hear In This Country by Robin Zander, everybody in the theater started clapping. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know, everybody knew what the film was. And yeah, that was, you know, very satisfying. But yeah, I mean, the soundtrack here, again, it's a very pleasing and, you know, satisfying soundtrack. And things that I really enjoyed about the film here for me is the father and son relationship. You know, that they go through their ups and downs, and, you know, when you get towards the end of the film, you know, the son wants to go back to the father. And I really enjoyed their bond in the film, and, you know, their relationship. And, you know, Sly's performance is very sincere. And the film has great themes. You know, there's a lot of, you know, moments where, you know, Stallone's character gives his son a quote, or, you know, tells him, you know, the world meets nobody halfway. And, you know, it's a film that is for the family, you know, which nobody, you know, I mean, it's a PG movie, and, you know, there's no bad language, there's no violence. I mean, it's a film that everybody can watch, everybody in the family can watch. And, you know, the arm wrestling aspect and competition, you know, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. You know, it's something that you don't really see a lot in films, and there's not a lot of arm wrestling movies. I think this is probably the only arm wrestling movie. You know, I could be wrong, but, you know, I think it does a good job of, you know, showcasing, you know, arm wrestling. And when you throw in, you know, a satisfying soundtrack and score, and, you know, I know people have made fun of this movie for being cheesy and, you know, oh, it's so bad it's good. I don't agree with any of that. You know, to me, then I really enjoyed this movie. And some of the things that, you know, for me, the father and son relationship and the soundtrack, and, you know, it's a film that you can watch with your, you know, it's a great father and son movie. It's a great family movie. And, you know, where, again, you have no, you know, violence. What, I mean, you got arm wrestling in there, but it's a PG movie that, you know, for the, you know, it's kept clean. And it's a good film. I mean, so the whole, for years, you know, people saying that it's cheesy and, or it's so bad it's good. I don't agree with any of that. People can say what they want. If you don't like the film, that's one thing, but, you know, you're not going to change my mind when it comes to, you know, Over the Top. To me, it's a very underrated film. Now it's time to get to my final thoughts on Over the Top. Sylvester Stallone as Lincoln Hawk brings a performance that is very akin to Rocky, great soundtrack throughout, and a moving story. Over the Top brings a lot of heart with crowd-pleasing moments, and to me, one of Stallone's most underrated films. And out of 10, I'm going to give Over the Top here a 9 out of 10. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.